Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the 143. This is Under Review. We are all business here on a Tuesday in College Station. Nice and chilly outside finally. Nick and I are rocking some hoodies.
Rocking the sweatshirt and joggers.
It's been a while, but we are happy to have the weather here. And week 8 of the NFL season happened, so we're going to talk to you about that.
The Cowboys are back.
Yeah, baby.
Literally.
Got a big game coming up this weekend against the Eagles that we will be discussing today. Other than the next game against the Eagles, this is the game of the season. Those two games are the games of the season. And let's go. Let's get into it. Stat of the week brought to you by our sponsor, Andrews Logistics. Nick, I think I had to highlight this guy with a stat, all right, because he's gone under the radar for too long, all right, and I know you'll appreciate this. But Brandon Aubrey,
oh man,
the kicker for the Dallas Cowboys, through 8 weeks, is 18 for 18 on field goals. That's 100%. That's his career stats too. This is his first year in the NFL.
I mean, that's impressive.
I mean, he's been a machine. Another word is automatic.
Kicking machine.
And he gets the stat of the week with that doozy.
Good for him. We got another Cowboy coming at you for Player of the Week, Mr. Cedarius Lamb, CeeDee Lamb as they call him these days. 158 yards for 12 catches and 2 tutties.
Always open.
I mean, he
said he's like 7'11".
one of the main reasons why we absolutely dismembered the Los Angeles Rams for 4 quarters straight on television.
If I was a Rams fan, I'd be embarrassed right now.
I mean, it was just from the get-go, it looked like the game was over.
Defense, I mean, everyone, special teams, defense, offense, obviously, just everyone was firing on all cylinders.
DaRon Bland gets his 3rd pick 6 of the season.
You want another stat? You want a
Cowboy.
bonus stat? Him and Devontae
Lay it
Adams
on
have
me.
the same number of receiving touchdowns. And Bland is a cornerback.
That is crazy.
So, there you go.
And all you people complaining, oh, well, Devontae Adams has had a different QB every week. Well, DaRon Bland has had a different QB thrown to him
That's how
every
it works
week.
on defense, guys.
Boom! Okay, so anyways, let's go back to Thursday night. The Bills versus the Buccaneers.
Yeah, it was kind of a long game. You know, these Thursday night games have not really been good, not living up to the hype.
At least this one was close, but the thing
really
is, it wasn't supposed to be. Obviously, it came down to 6 at the end.
There was some garbage time points in there.
But
it was just, I don't think that it was as good of a game as everyone thought it was going to be. The Bucs kind of didn't really come to play. They couldn't get any offense going until the last drive.
Came down to a Hail Mary at the end that Chris Godwin, he could have easily caught that pass.
It could have been a good game, but it wasn't.
His back was faced towards the ball, so it was not destined.
I mean, I'm just going to go off on a rant here. Could we get some good primetime games? Thursday night football was terrible. Sunday night football, the Bears-Chargers game was awful.
Managed to get that.
And then the Raiders-Lions game was a blowout. I mean, who is in charge of this?
We're supposed to be seeing
that they should change
flex
their methods.
games, but that's not been helping.
The good games are coming at 12 o'clock when no one's watching in the regional action. Okay? I'm going to need the NFL. I feel like I've said this season already. Get on it. Let's give me some good primetime games, okay?
Let's move some games around. Let's shift them around. Like,
when
who's
the spread
good
is in double digits, it's probably not a good primetime game, okay? So, anyways, so Thursday night football, I mean, the Bills won, which they were supposed to. Bucs have been pretty disappointing in the last few weeks.
The Bills' offense was looking better-ish than it has been. Obviously, you'd expect them, with the amount of weapons that they have, to score maybe more than 24 points against Tampa Bay. But Tampa Bay's defense has been doing pretty solid.
And then also, week.
Tampa Bay always they find a way to be in games. Like, it doesn't really matter who they're playing, but unfortunately they've lost 4 straight. They went 3-0, and now they're 0-4 the last 4 weeks. So they've got some things to figure out down in Tampa Bay.
I just want to talk real quick. I mean, this wasn't even a big game, but I just want to highlight Vikings-Packers because Kirk Cousins looks like he's out with a torn Achilles, and you just hate that for Kirk. In a contract year, everybody loves Kirk Cousins. He's a fan favorite right now.
It's different because everyone on the team has so much respect and
I love Kirk Cousins.
Love for Kirk Cousins that it is an attitude killer.
Yeah, they finally gotten some momentum.
They started winning games. Okay,
yeah.
They had beat the 49ers.
Yeah.
Prior to beating the Packers, which is an impressive win against one of the best defenses this season. But with Kirk out, they needed a quarterback, so they went out. They got Josh Dobbs from the Cardinals, who had lost his starting job recently as well. But there were rumblings of Jameis Winston possibly.
Would have loved to see that.
Possibly being in the gold and purple. And to be honest, I would have loved to see Jameis Winston.
Yes.
I like Jameis Winston. He's a funny guy. He's a national treasure.
He is.
He's not actually a national treasure, but I would have.
He should be.
I mean, you can't deny what he did in Tampa Bay that first season. Like,
you can't.
He will always have that. But nonetheless, Josh Dobbs will be leading the charge for the Vikings, I guess, for the rest of the season if they choose to let him play out.
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight Kirk being out. That's a huge loss for the Vikings. Most of these 12 o'clock games were really not meaningful in any way, shape, or form.
I mean, we did have the DeAndre Hopkins coming out party.
Yeah.
Will Levis came in, threw 4 touchdowns.
The rookie.
Out
of nowhere, had like over 200
stepping
passing
up,
yards.
Doubled Ryan Tannehill's passing
That's what happens
TDs
when you target
one game.
Only one receiver.
Finally seeing DeAndre Hopkins being used, doing what he does best. They beat up on the Falcons, who have been
we're going to need
struggling.
to slow on the Will Levis hype because the team they were playing was
I'm glad they beat the Atlanta Falcons.
Did you see how open DeAndre Hopkins was on every? That's not normally going to happen in every game.
Yes.
But, hey, good for the rookie to get his first start out there, throw for 4 tutties. I mean, it was impressive. Eagles beat the Commanders, and obviously, like this week, we're all high on the Eagles again because they won a game, and they won a really close game against a pretty bad team.
But Joseph, Derek Carr had Derek Carr. Jalen Hurts had a bum knee.
Yeah, like Nick and I said, they said he had a bum knee so that he could either, if they lost, they could either say he was on a bum knee, or if they won, it could be like, whoa, he played on a bum knee.
And they're doing it again, right?
Yes.
This weekend against the Cowboys.
That bum knee's about to get a lot worse.
I was about to say,
if he
might lose that leg on Sunday.
Micah ain't having it. Micah is sick of the hype around the Eagles.
Well, it's just
he's going to get him some.
They get this opted out narrative where it's like, if they lose, it's, okay, well, Jalen Hurts was injured. You know, he didn't, he wasn't 100%. But then if they win, it's like, oh, look at what he can do even through injury. Or whatever.
Look, the Commanders have been a disappointing team. They just traded away most of their defense today because there's no hope for their season. And So, hey, good job to the Eagles for getting a 7-point win over the Commanders. While meanwhile, we over in Dallas know how to actually win ball games.
Another big one
rolled the Rams.
From the South, the NFC South, was the Saints coming out, routing the Colts 38-27. It was a bounce back week for Derek Carr. 310, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, so that's
Clean
good.
week.
You know, we like Derek Carr over here on Under Review, so
Love
seeing him
Derek.
succeed is always a good thing. You know, they've had a rough go at it, but it was nice to see Derek Carr have a good week of football.
Seahawks are rolling.
I mean, they just overtook the 49ers as number 1 in the NFC West. So
I think
that's
the
pretty
Seahawks
huge.
are pretty good. I mean, they beat the Browns, who have the best defense in the NFL right now.
Who also beat the 49ers a couple weeks ago.
I mean, the Browns aren't a joke, especially their defense. And, I mean, the Seahawks, that was a statement win in Seattle. I've heard Seattle's a pretty tough place to play, so that's a home field advantage kind of game right there. So Geno's rolling. You love to see Geno winning. I just like the Seahawks team a lot, and everyone keeps counting them out, you know.
Another big one from there was Jackson Smith-Njigba getting in on the action with a tutty at the end to put the game away for Seattle. I know a lot of Seattle fans were happy because they've seen how much of a weapon he was at Ohio State, and he is putting that on display on the field in that Seattle uniform. So lots of excitement there for them.
Nick, I got a question for you. So the Bengals won 31-17 against the 49ers this week in San Francisco. The 49ers are on a 3-game losing streak going into the bye week. The Bengals are looking like the Bengals of old. And a lot of hype around this game and the Bengals winning. And was this game more about the Bengals winning or the 49ers losing?
That is a good question. More about the Bengals winning or the 49ers losing? I'm going to go with I might have to say the 49ers losing. Just because the Bengals winning, that's what's expected, right? You knew it was going to happen when you have Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon, all those weapons offensively. You know you're going to win a lot of games every year. Obviously, it's been a slow start for them. Joe Burrow, he's had that calf injury, so he's been out for a little bit, and so the Bengals have not been looking like themselves. But now they're rolling. They're looking good. Joe Burrow's 100%, and they came out, beat a good defense in San Francisco. I think it's more about the 49ers losing just because, the big story this year had been Brock Purdy because he had yet to lose a regular season game, and he has unfortunately lost 3 in a row.
Yeah, they beat us pretty bad, and then I started losing after that.
The offense has lost some of its flair for the 49ers.
They did lose Debo, and when they lost Debo, they started losing.
This is a high-scoring, high-powered offense that we have seen the last the first 5 weeks of the season and then the end of last year. But these last 3 weeks, they have just not been clicking. Brock Purdy has not looked like his normal self. And so the 49ers have been dropping a few games.
Yeah, there's some concern there in San Francisco. Some stuff they've got to get fixed. They have made some defensive moves today. Got Chase Young from the Commanders. So they're shoring up the defense, which has been giving up a lot of points recently. So they need help. And the really dominant team through the first 5 weeks has not looked very good in the last 3 weeks. So
good thing is it is week 8 of the year. You're still 5-3. The season's not over. There's plenty of games left to be played. So you have plenty of time to figure out all the obstacles that you have been running into these last couple weeks for the 49ers.
Overreaction week for the Denver-Kansas City game, of course. The Chiefs lose, and Patrick Mahomes loses for his first time ever to the Denver Broncos. And obviously now the Chiefs are not winning the Super Bowl, not winning the division, not winning the AFC, just not winning anything because they lost one game on the road to Denver. That obviously is what just overreactions everywhere.
I think similar to the 49ers, you have a good team. You're going to win a lot of games, all right? You're not going 17-0.
Yep.
You're going to fall short every now and then. The offense just did not look great at all. I mean,
no, it didn't.
The Broncos' defense, that's what they were supposed to be this entire season. Shut down, lockdown, lots of turnovers, putting the ball in Russell Wilson's hands, who actually looked pretty good at home against the Chiefs. But Chiefs fans, no need to fret. You still have one of the greatest QB tight end duos of all time.
I mean, this game is more about the Broncos. They look like they're at least on the right track now, maybe. They're 2-5 or 3-5. 3-5. And so, they just look like they're doing a little bit better. This was how it was supposed to be at the beginning of the season for them.
And also, in beating the Chiefs, I think that shows them that they can go compete with anybody. You're not the best team in the league. Don't kid yourself about that, but I think that shows that you can go and compete with just about anyone if you play your best football.
Agreed. All right. Let's talk about it.
Let's do it.
Cowboys game. We should have to give you all a preview of the rest of the games before we talk about the important one. There was nothing but dominance in that game. We've seen a few of those this season where we've just completely destroyed the other team, in the first quarter. And that's what it was here. Defense just was at it early. And then offense scoring on the first offensive drive, that's huge. That's a good momentum. That brings momentum, and that's what we need to keep doing.
We're just seeing we were clicking on every single aspect of the game, offensively, defensively, special teams wise, like KaVontae Turpin. So we had that punt blocked for a safety, and then when they punted the ball away back to us, Turpin comes and takes it into the red zone essentially, and so that just. We're seeing KaVontae Turpin do what has been expected of him. Also, Brandon Cooks getting involved in the action. He got himself a tud this week.
Dak looked really good.
He had 3 catches, 49 yards, and a tutty. So we were clicking passing wise.
I think we're seeing something. I think when CeeDee is at his best, our offense is like really potent. Because when CeeDee's playing like he did, always getting open, getting looks, it makes, the rest of the guys open for the attention that CeeDee gets. So I think for our offense to be good, CeeDee's got to be rolling. I think we've just seen that.
And also, Tony Pollard only had about 53 rushing yards, which that's a solid amount, but that's also not really a lot.
We haven't really ran the ball.
That's off of 12 carries, but a lot of the stigma of what we have said in the past is you have to get the run game going.
Yeah.
But now we're seeing wins without using the run game.
In this league is a passing league now. You don't really see as much running anymore. Like running backs, for the most part, aren't getting as many yards as they used to. It's become a passing league, and the running backs are very involved in that passing game. Tony's been involved, even though he wasn't this week. But all around, our defense was all over the Rams. They had a pick six with DaRon Bland, like we said, some sacks. Micah got in there, just making a lot of problems. And this is what we're going to need to go into Philly and play Philly this weekend. Is we're going to have that same level of intensity, and the defense has really got to show up in Philly.
You just got to go in.
AJ Brown is a problem.
Score early. Right? We've seen that the Eagles don't do too great when they are playing from behind, and then stop that run game.
Also, they only have one guy that can really, threaten you. It's A.J. Brown.
Just lock up A.J. Brown, and then the rest will fall into place.
He's tough to lock up, but if you can lock him up, then it's down to Devonta Smith who drops everything.
And then also, they've been using that ground pound game with DeAndre Swift, so you just can't let them get excessive.
Everyone's been talking about the tush push and that play that they have. Congrats to them. But we like to get more than 1 yard in a play normally.
Yeah, absolutely. But also might need to call up the Commanders and ask them what they did on that. Because they did that. They tush pushed on the one and fumbled.
Yeah.
So
it's possible to stop.
It is not undefeated. It is not undefeated anymore.
I just want to win against the Eagles so bad because, they're our rivals. And I'm tired of hearing about it. So the only way you can, shut them down is by beating them.
A lot of the talk this season, this always happens, is Dak versus Jalen Hurts. And so that's going to be primary focus of the game between Eagles and Cowboys. So, Dak, I need you to keep that in mind.
We're going to need some takeaways.
Show them who you are.
We're going to need some takeaways against Jalen. He's been sloppy with the ball this season, so if anything, this is our defense's time to step up. And then the offense has just got to go like they did this week. We can't have these mental errors from Dak. He's got to be at his A game, making the right reads. Don't force it to CeeDee if it's not there.
Exactly.
That's the mistakes that he makes from normally.
We saw some elite ball placement this week from Dak. More specifically, that touchdown he had to Jake Ferguson.
Yes.
Jake Ferguson has multiple defenders on him, but Dak throws it into a spot where either Jake catches it or it goes incomplete. Yep. He doesn't give the defenders a chance
to made a great catch.
Make a play on the ball. Jake, Superman dives and snags it out of thin air. It was just impressive all around from everyone. But we're going to need plays like that against the Eagles this week.
Yep, going to be a tough game, but looking forward to it. Big rivalry matchup down in Philly, up in Philly, sorry. And so we're here for it, and we're excited about that.
Finally going to take it to them. Shut down all the haters. So. Let everyone know who we are, what we're about. Take care of business.
We better.
At the end of the day, when you get up there, just take care of business.
Get the job done.
Viewers would like to end our shows on Underview. I brought you a quote from the Mike Tomlin, longtime head coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers, legend up there, revered by very many. He said, "Excuses are the tools of the incompetent."
It's very true. It's very true. Don't make excuses.
Exactly.
Just get the job done. Thank you for tuning in this week. We'll see you next week with another episode of Under Review.